Hello. Today I'm going to be talking about the future of the Canon RF mount. I'm sure by now you've heard of the Canon EOS R, which is Canon's new full-frame mirrorless camera, and it uses a different mount to any previous Canon camera, the RF mount. For DSLRs use the EF mount, and for previous Canon mirrorless cameras use the EF-M mount. So today I'm going to talk about the future of the RF mount, and if you either own an EOS R or you're looking to buy an EOS R, should you buy EF lenses and then use an adapter to the Canon RF mount, or should you just go right ahead and buy some Canon RF lenses? Well, currently the EOS R is the only RF mount camera in Canon's range, but in the future there are rumors, and I think Canon have talked about this a bit too, that there's going to be a budget orientated RF mount mirrorless camera. Well, I think all RF cameras are going to be mirrorless, but this camera is supposed to be a crop sensor. I imagine it will be very similar to the EOS R in pretty much most ways, just a little bit smaller and with that 1.6 times crop. I don't know how much that's going to cost, but considering the EOS R is around £2,000, I imagine that even a budget RF mount camera is going to be around £1,000. So not particularly cheap, but a lot cheaper than the EOS R for people who don't need a full frame sensor. If you're recording 4K video, then it probably makes sense to go for this budget RF mount camera, providing it doesn't have any other worse specs than the EOS R, because the EOS R, in case you're not aware of this, the EOS R records in 4K at a 1.7 times crop, so that's actually a bit less than APS-C. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with that budget RF mount camera. We'll see what happens, and when it gets announced, providing it does get announced, I will make a video on this channel about it. Now, the other potentially rumored RF mount camera, well, it's not really a rumored camera, it's more a feature that should be coming to the RF lineup. I'm pretty sure some official from Canon has confirmed that this is something they are planning to do, and that is 8K video in a Canon RF mount camera. Now, I don't know what that's going to be, if that's going to be like a pro version of the EOS R or an EOS R Mark II, but if they manage to get 8K video in the Canon C-Log with all Canon's nice color science in a camera that small, that would be pretty incredible, and quite unheard of for Canon to be the resolution leaders. Normally they focus on different aspects of the image, but 8K video in the next couple of years in an EOS RF mount camera would be amazing. Now, I don't know how long I'm going to have to wait for that to happen, so I wouldn't base your decision on buying RF lenses or anything on that, but I think you can relax about the RF mount and its continued support. From the sound of it, it sounds like Canon have no intention of discontinuing the RF mount anytime soon. So that's the camera part of the RF mount covered, and now we're going to move on to the lenses, which is the exciting bit. Currently there are 4 lenses in the Canon RF lineup. There are 3 L lenses, the 24-105 f4, the Canon RF 50mm f1.2, and the RF 28-70 f2. They all look like very nice lenses. They are quite expensive right now, especially that 28-70, which is about £3,000. So if you do want the L series RF lenses, you will need to set aside a decent bit of budget to buy them. If those look a bit too expensive, then there's also a 35mm prime lens, which is around £500, so that's much more affordable. So far then, that's a pretty decent lineup for the RF series lenses, but there are only 4 right now, and there aren't any really telephoto options. But there are lots of rumors and patents being filed by Canon that suggests more RF lenses will be coming soon. And now I'm going to go through a few of the patents that have been filed for RF lenses. We have a 24-70 f2.8L, which should be a lot cheaper than the 28-70, a 90mm f2.8L macro lens, a 24-70 f4L, which also should be a lot cheaper than the 28-70 and presumably cheaper than the planned 24-70 f2.8, so that's more of a budget orientated L lens. Then we've got 2 telephoto patents which look pretty impressive, a 300mm f2.8 and a 400mm f2.8. There's another telephoto lens patent here saying there could be a super telephoto of 500mm. That is pretty impressive, and some pretty cool wide angle lenses here. A 14 to 21mm zoom L lens at f1.4. How can you get a lens that's that wide with f1.4 and that's a zoom? Something tells me that one is going to be on the expensive side. There's another patent here for a 12 to 20mm f2L and the 16 to 35 2.8L, which already exists in EF mount form. Now all of those patents are for L lenses, and I imagine all of them except perhaps the 24 to 70 f4 are going to be on the kind of pricey side, but maybe Canon's just trying to build up the hype around those lenses, and that in the background they're also working on some cheaper non-L versions for the RF mount. But from reading all of those patents and the rumors, the general impression I'm getting is that RF L lenses, in fact all RF lenses, are going to be expensive, so that is something worth considering if you want to invest into the RF system. But either way, it looks like there's going to be a very impressive lineup of RF lenses in the next year or two. So time to answer the question: if you are buying an EOS R or you're looking at buying an EOS R, should you buy EF lenses and adapt them with the EF to RF adapter, or should you dive headfirst and start buying RF lenses? Well, I think it depends a little bit on your situation. If you're coming from a lower end, older, cheaper DSLR or mirrorless camera from any other manufacturer and you don't have much money invested in lenses, then I think the RF system could be a very good thing for you. You can go ahead, buy the EOS R, or maybe wait to see what happens with the budget RF mount camera, and if you want a good zoom lens to go with it, you can get the 24 to 105 f4L, maybe pick up the 35mm prime 2. That's two pretty decent lenses for not an unbelievable amount of money. You really have to commit to it if you're going to go for the 28 to 70 f2, because whilst that is a lovely lens, at £3,000 it is pretty expensive. But yes, if the EOS R is going to be a big switch for you, a big leap forwards, then why not go all in and go for RF lenses too. Maybe hold off buying too many RF lenses and see what gets released in later 2019 and 2020. Now if on the other hand you're more like me, and if you were to buy an EOS R, you'd want to use it alongside another pretty decent Canon camera. In my case the C100 Mark II, but it could be a 5D Mark IV or any other camera in the cinema series. Well, if that's the case for you, then I'd say it's a much better idea to buy the adapter that adapts EF lenses to the RF mount on the EOS R, because if you spend a lot of money on RF lenses, you can't adapt them to the EF mount. The RF 28 to 70 is absolutely no good when paired with the C100 Mark II, it won't fit. And if you want to spend a lot of money on lenses, I'm assuming you want to be able to use them on all of your cameras. So if you've got more than one high-end Canon camera, go for EF mount lenses and adapt to RF with a Canon adapter. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribing so as not to miss any new videos. When more Canon RF products are released, I will be making more videos about them on this channel, so make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss them. See you later.